It looks like Motorola is using their Razr line of phones to innovate on the form factor of the future devices. And all that is based on this patent. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. Motorola is a company that is owned by Lenovo, and at the moment they focus, I will say, mostly on cheaper phones, except for the Razr line of devices. This is a foldable device, a flip phone, and they're using the older Razr, or Razr is RAZR branding for the phone in order to sell it as a newer device, as a top of the line device, as a device that can compete with Samsung, even though sadly it cannot. And I wish it was different, I wish that they could compete, but they just cannot because the phone isn't what it should be. But it looks like that Motorola is going to be using the Razr branding of devices for the future and to kind of show innovation on their phones in the future. And it also seems that Razr is going to be synonymous with premium Motorola phones. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of a recent patent uncovered by Let's Go Digital. Based on the patent uncovered by Let's Go Digital, we see the device has a wraparound screen. Technically, this is going to be an OLED screen that is going to be all around the device. Because we have a wraparound screen, that means that it doesn't have a regular frame for the phone. So there aren't going to be any physical buttons on the sides or any framing on the side. The only framing that we see for the phone is at the top and bottom of the device. Based on these mock-ups of the phone, at the bottom you can see where the speaker will be, where the SIM card tray will be, and where the USB-C port will be. And on the top, it looks like it's going to have a headphone jack or a microphone and another speaker. This, of course, by having no physical buttons, then the question becomes, well, how do you control power and volume and camera and all these things, right? Well, they become virtual buttons. And the way they're going to be working this out is if you have your phone on your pocket, per se, as we can see on these images, the virtual buttons will change depending on which way the phone is facing. So if you have the phone facing towards the bottom, then the buttons will change to that place. The other thing is that the phone will know when it's in your pocket and also which direction is facing when it's in your pocket. That way, if you're getting a phone call, for example, you will be able to just pick up the phone and answer your call without having to fumble with the phone to figure out which side is the front or back side. And the reason, of course, is also because it's a wraparound screen. So the front can become the back, and the back can become the front. And when you flip the phone around, the bottom can become the top, and the top can become the bottom, if that makes sense. This, of course, is really cool to see, but this isn't the first company that has done this or that has been planning this or filed patents about this. Will we see a wraparound phone at some point? Maybe. I will suspect that it will happen once OLED screens become sturdier and not as fragile as they are today. Even though I was told in one of the comments about the upcoming, the ZenBook Flip is what it was called, the flippable tablet or laptop, which the video I'm going to put in the description section. In that comment section, someone told me that they actually had a Galaxy Z Fold 3 and that they have dropped the device a few times and that screen still works perfectly. So if that's the case of how sturdy the phone is, and that means that this wraparound OLED screen could become a reality sooner rather than later. But of course, as we look into the future of what phones might one day become, there are some questions. So, first question is, clearly you wouldn't be able to put a case on this phone. Because if you put a case on the phone, then one side of the screen will become unusable and it will just be a regular phone. That's one. Two, you might be saying, well, you can always put bumpers. And yes, you could put bumpers, but if the device has virtual buttons on the sides of the phone or towards the front of the phone, like on the edges of the phone, then the bumper is going to cover those buttons. So My first question then will be, what kind of protection could we use on a phone like this? Is it just a screen protector all around? Is that the only thing you could have? And hope that the screen protector is good enough to keep your phone from getting damaged when it drops or when it gets poked with keys or something like that. Those are, of course, some of the questions that I have about this. The other question is price. If a foldable device costs so much money today, will a wraparound phone cost more? Because I'm assuming that a foldable device also is not only the technology of the screen, but also the hinge and the mechanism that comes into the phone when you fold it and unfold it, right? That goes into it. Having a wraparound screen kind of takes away the necessity of a hinge that folds and unfolds. So will that taking away that amount of engineering save some money on what the device will cost to the end consumer? Maybe, maybe not. Another thing that the device will have is stylus support. And this isn't anything new because we've seen that the Galaxy Z Fold 3 has added stylus support to the phone. So that means that the technology is already out there. It means that having a flexible OLED screen that supports stylus isn't that far-fetched. But it clearly looks like Motorola is using this, I don't know if to actually make it a real device in the future, but to kind of, as companies do, have a patent in case somebody else comes out with a device that kind of looks like this and kind of uses the same properties that this device is supposed to use if it ever comes to market. What do you think about this patent from Motorola? Are you a Motorola user? Do you like to see this kind of futuristic ideas for phones? If Motorola ever came to market with something like this, would it push you to want to buy their devices? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.